Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that could seriously change how you do investment research. We're talking about using AI to just slice through all the noise so you can analyze stocks way faster and, honestly, a lot smarter. Let's get into it.
We've all been there, right? You're staring at some 100-page annual report, trying to figure out what all these numbers and dense financial terms even mean. It feels like you need a PhD in finance just to get started. But what if you had a helper?
And that's exactly where AI, especially tools like ChatGPT, comes into play. Now, don't think of it as some magic crystal ball. Instead, think of it as a really powerful assistant that's ready to do all the heavy lifting for you. So let's properly introduce this new assistant and break down exactly how it turns all of that mind-numbing complexity into clear, useful insights.
The best way to think about this is to imagine you just hired a virtual junior analyst. Its only job is to take your instructions, dig through piles of data, and then present it all back to you in a way you can actually understand. It's an incredible time saver. And what this assistant can actually do, it's pretty amazing. It can take those gigantic reports and boil them down to a few key takeaways. It can explain what a debt-to-equity ratio actually means in plain English. It can spot if revenue is growing consistently, and it can even show you how a company is doing compared to its biggest rivals.
All right, theory's cool, but let's get our hands dirty. I'm going to walk you through a super simple 5-step process that you can literally use today to put your new AI assistant to work.
Here's the game plan. It's a really logical flow, starting broad and then getting super specific. We'll pick a company, get the basics down, look at the key performance numbers, see how it stacks up against others, and then, and this is the most important part, we're going to ask why.
Step 1. It's the easiest one, but everything else is built on it. You just have to tell the AI which company you want to put under the microscope.
So, for example, a simple prompt like Analyze Infosys Limited. That's it. That's all it takes to get the ball rolling. That one command sets the entire context, telling the AI that every question you ask next is about this specific company.
Okay, next up, before you go deep, you want that high-level view of the company's financial health. Think of it like a quick checkup. We just need to know if the vital signs, revenue, profit, debt, are heading in the right direction.
And here's where it gets really useful. By asking for the last 3 years of data, you're not just getting a snapshot in time. You're immediately asking the AI to help you find the patterns. Is revenue climbing? Is profit keeping up? How's that debt looking? So once you've got the fundamentals locked down, it's time to peel back another layer. This is where we start looking at financial ratios. These are the metrics that really tell you the story about a company's performance and its valuation.
Now, the key here is to ask for more than just a number. By asking for the trend and for an explanation, you're pushing the AI to give you the context. That helps you figure out if the stock seems expensive or cheap compared to its own history.
Of course, no company exists in a bubble. A 20% operating margin might sound awesome, but what if all its competitors are hitting 30%? Context is absolutely everything, which is why comparing a company to its peers is a must-do.
And this is where the AI really shines. You can just ask it to create a nice, clean comparison table like this one. Instantly, you can see how the company stacks up. In just a few seconds, you know who's leading the pack and who might be falling behind. Okay, this might just be the most valuable step of them all. Data is just data until you understand the story behind it. The real magic of this assistant is its ability to help you connect those dots.
This is the kind of question that turns you from someone who just collects data into a real analyst. Is that margin decline because of industry-wide problems or something specific to the company? A prompt like this pushes the AI beyond the numbers and into actual qualitative insights. Now, before you run off and start analyzing everything in sight, we need to talk about the rules of the road, because using this tool the right way and safely takes a little bit of discipline and a healthy dose of skepticism.
It really just comes down to a few key do's and don'ts. So on the one hand, you want to be specific, ask for things in tables or bullet points, and always ask follow-up questions. But on the other side, you have to be careful. The AI's data might be old, you can't just blindly trust everything it says, and you have to remember, it absolutely, positively cannot predict the future. And of all those warnings, one stands way above the rest. If you only remember one thing from this, make it this. Always, and I mean always, verify any numbers with official company reports or stock exchange websites. AI can make mistakes, and when your money's on the line, that's just not a risk you can take.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up by talking about the core idea here.
How do we bring all these pieces together into a winning formula?
It's this simple equation. The AI brings the speed, the data crunching, and the summaries. But you bring the critical thinking, the skepticism, and the final judgment call. That combination is what leads to better, more informed investing.
This quote just nails the mindset perfectly. Your AI tool is an assistant. It's there to support you and prepare your briefing. But you are the CEO of your own portfolio. The final call, that's always on you. And that brings us to the end. You now have a real, practical framework for using AI in your investment research. So the only question left is, what company are you going to analyze first?
Like, comment, and subscribe.